Hello, and welcome to another installment of our podcast. We have a special guest here.
Hello.
Cole. What's your favorite teams? Cole.
Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, Patriots.
Okay. All right. And then Tyler's back with us. The first time in a while, right? Since the last time was football podcast with Testone. Or no, one after Testone, right? Something like that. All right. Well, we still have normal people here. Zach.
I'm sorry that I'm not here. I've been, very busy, and it's pretty glad to be there.
Okay.
I didn't pull that out of my
ass. And I'm here. That's normal here. So today we're going to talk about strictly basketball, and Saturday we have a football one coming straight up. And so we're going to talk about last night's games like we do always. Cole, you want to lead us off?
Lakers beat the Magic 96-87.
Nothing to really talk about there. I think it's obvious that they should have won.
I'm surprised that they didn't win by more.
Should have beat them by 20 and not 9 points.
I thought Magic would have won.
Wait, are you saying that, or did you think they could pull
I
up?
actually thought it.
Because Lakers, when they face adversity, they haven't shown much.
Mm-hmm.
That's their one weakness they have had in the past.
I feel like they're a little too overconfident.
They could be. We don't know yet.
The Lakers or the Magic?
Lakers.
Definitely
Magic
Lakers.
I mean, if you have a run like this that the franchise hasn't had in a while, it kind of gets to your head, but at the same time, you have so many superstars there that just all blends together.
It's probably the best team they've had in like 10 years.
Exactly.
Speaking about the Lakers or what?
No, next topic.
So
About
about superstars, the Clippers beat the Raptors 112-92. It was Kawhi's ring ceremony. That tribute video was probably the best one I've seen in a while. Nothing really, special there. Really, the Clippers are a better team than the Raptors because the Raptors, I think Siakam's an all-star, maybe Lowry, but you got some other guards that might.
Lowry's got his ups and downs.
Yeah, and then you got Van Vliet, Zach's favorite player in the league.
Should have won MVP. That's why I'm telling my kids that he did win it, but that's besides the point.
I'm gonna tell my kids that's Drake.
He didn't play.
But the Clippers, they have two all-stars, Kawhi and Paul. Questionably two MVP candidates. Maybe not this year, or maybe not right now as we speak, but granted, I just think the Clippers, better team. Nothing really surprised me about this outcome. The Rockets barely beat the Cavs 116-110.
That was
Harden
surprising.
had 55 points, shot 58%, and only had 5 free throws. I don't think they do well when he scores 50+, but granted, he's going to do what he wants. Russell Westbrook also had 23 points.
They should have
The
blown him
Rockets
out by
beat
like
the Cavs.
25, though.
And the Cavs,
Definitely.
their highest scorer, Kevin Porter Jr., second-round draft pick, off the bench,
Wait.
had 24 points. What? Keep going?
Wrong person.
Did anyone want to comment on the Rockets so far this season?
I think, I thought it was going to be a different atmosphere knowing that, Russ, he's not a selfish player, but we all know how he plays. I thought it was going to be a lot different with him and Harden. They're both, ball dominant.
Clyde has I want the ball more, stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. So, James Harden is doing his thing regardless, and, Russ is doing his thing as well, but I thought they should have blown up the Cavs. The 76ers did, so therefore the 76ers really.
No, they definitely should have blown them out by significantly more.
Yeah,
But I just want to say, James Harden has been able to score at will, and just to show that, take away his 5 points from the free throw, he still drops 50, which is saying a lot since everyone says he gets most of his points from free throws, which is true at times, but he can obviously show that he can shoot.
He's one of the best shooters in the league, so he gets to the lane, he gets fouled.
I think talking about James Harden's game is a whole topic of its own.
Yeah.
That we can eventually get into, not today though. But we can definitely talk about it for like 3.5 hours of a style of play, why it should work, why it doesn't work, why it's stupid, why it should be illegal, or whatever
why he should
our
be
opinions
illegal
are.
Basketball.
But on the next game, I think it was the game of the night. The Celtics beat the Pacers the Pacers beat the Celtics 122-117. Celtics fans over there, you guys can take it away if you want.
Kemba, he had a good game. He had 44 points. Jaylen Brown, 8 rebounds, but they just blew the lead late in the game. Hayward, he was out early. Marcus Smart didn't play at all. That's their defensive guy.
Are we going into Zach Carey's
So
corner right
Zach
now?
Carey's a little corner.
All right, there
As
you go.
I said before, our leading rebounder is Jaylen Brown for that game with only 8 rebounds, no offensive. So I'm just saying that, like I said in our last Zach's corner, is you think about somebody that can actually get the ball off the board and actually get more rebounds, because this is hurting us.
I think it's helping
How?
because it's helping you guys lose.
Oh, yeah. All right. But
Jalen
I'm
Brown's
saying
great defensively though, but
No, he's not.
they haven't had a legit center in like how long? It's been like years.
I know, since we had a legit center, a big man, somebody that can actually easily grab boards, is what I'm saying. You get Taco, those boards go up
Definitely.
Wait, you said a great center in how long?
in a while.
Years. It's been.
What about Al?
Yeah, what about Al Horford?
He was power forward.
He's
Well,
was your
he
center.
played
He
center,
was your,
but
he was your
he's
center.
a little small for a center, like traditionally. His
What-
true position's power forward.
What position did he play for the Celtics?
They had him at center. Didn't really
He
work.
was your
though.
center.
I mean, if you look at Ennis Kenner, he's center,
He's
but
offensively good.
Defensively,
I
no.
have-
You can definitely tell that he's a power forward.
Cantor?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's short.
Yeah,
and
he's
forward.
a small
And he's not
center.
good defensively.
Yeah, no, he's a good offensive player. He was on the Knicks like a couple years ago. All right. Anything else to add in your corner, Zach? Right?
No, that's it.
All
Just
right.
Taco fall.
The Hornets beat the Nets 113 to 108. Karis LeVert and Kyrie Irving did not play, but the Hornets point guard in Devontae Graham had 40 points. I heard a hot take this morning that he could be an all-star this year for the East.
He's having a good year.
He's having a good year, and Terry Rozier's contract looks worse and worse every time the Hornets play. I don't know what MJ's doing in the booth, but whatever he's doing isn't right, other than getting Devontae Graham and I think Malik Monk and Bridges. I think they're a good young core over there. But other than that, this Hornets team is overperforming.
Oh yeah, I
Everyone
give him a
thought they
lot
were
of
going to be
credit.
the worst team in the league.
I thought they were gonna win like maybe 10 games at best.
Yeah,
Like,
now you
their
look at
roster
the-
was just not
the
it.
Knicks and Warriors looking like they're going to be closer to that than the Hornets will be. Other
Which
than
is
that,
Surprise turnaround.
we always talk about it when we talk about the Nets. I think they're better without Kyrie, but Karis LeVert is a piece that they need in order to win games. He can easily drop 20 points a night, easily get a double-double if he wanted to. He's that kind of glue guy that you need on a championship team, and I feel like we've talked about enough that I think we can all say in the room that the Nets are a better team without Kyrie.
I
You guys
feel
are
like
Celtics fans. You guys have first-hand experience with this situation.
It sucks to say.
Not good for a team.
It sucks to say that Kyrie has to do this to, number one, himself and to the players he plays with. Because when he was with LeBron, I think some players have a better role at being either, the face of the team, or that like say for instance
Number 2.
DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry.
Yep.
They play together. DeMar was the face,
Mm-hmm.
and Lowry,
was the second guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks,
Well, this team
I
doesn't
like
have
seeing him
KD
play.
still. We're still anticipating. He could technically come back. He's making a lot of progress on his injury, but he said he already ruled himself out on first take earlier in the year that he wasn't going to play this year. He doesn't plan on it.
It's not worth it if you're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, they will because it's the East, and we've talked about this before. If you're top seed 6 in the East right now, you're most likely
It's
gonna
kind of
stay
locked
there.
up, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Nets, I think the Nets could make it, but they need guys like Karis LeVert back and playing well. They have a bunch of guys who want to play and want to win. Whether or not that's not accurate, but granted that's close to it. But then Kyrie, yeah, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I think that he needs another star with him.
I feel
sure.
like if you look back to LeBron was the number one, the go-to. Kyrie was there, like, if LeBron needed help, which is kind of different what's going on with the Celtics and on the Nets, is that he's their star player, their number one. So a lot more eyes are on him, a lot more going around in the locker rooms is from him because it's just that one guy that is pinpointed right now. So I just feel like if he had KD, it would probably be a little bit different. He wouldn't be that...
He wouldn't be the number one.
Yeah, he wouldn't be that
That's
number
the
one.
obvious.
He wouldn't be that bad guy where he's taking all the shots, being a poor sport about it, you could say. I just feel like if KD were to come, he would have to sit down with Kyrie.
Yeah, he stepped out of that role to somebody that
It would be like a
has
LeBron
experience.
Kyrie type thing again.
Yeah.
of having KD came in to OKC. He was the leader of that team. and then you had Russ.
Mhm.
He was,
You had Harden.
and then and then he went to Golden State. I think
Curry
even
was
though-
obviously the best player, but Kevin
But-
Durant helped it out a lot.
yes,
And that's
then
what Kyrie's role is. You know that
he's a help out player.
you know
He's your
that
second
Durant's
guy.
the best player like Curry was in Golden State, and Kyrie's gonna be like Kevin's role. He's there,
Mhm.
but when he's injured, they're still gonna win games.
Yeah.
So next game was the Utah Jazz beat the T-Wolves 127-116. Donovan Mitchell had 30 points. This Jazz team, we had in our predictions that they were like third seed, and they're slowly
very
getting
well-rounded.
there. Yeah, they're very. I mean, they're very
They have
well
one of the
based, very
stronger
well coached.
rosters.
Quinn Snyder's one of the better coaches in the league, I would say. The
Mhm.
T-Wolves, they're just starting to figure it out. I think they're 3 years too late. They should have been doing this well 2 years ago. I think maybe 3 years is a little too early to say, but they're definitely starting to pick up some basketball now with Wiggins having a career year and Towns being Towns.
Yeah.
Jeff Teague had 32. I mean, that's not something he's to do every night, but it does help. The Bulls killed the Hawks 136-102. We do have a Bulls fan. You got any comments about this game? No? Well, Trae Young
Not
had...
even you're happy or
Are you
Uh.
you guys want to win more games, or Lauri Markkanen's not doing that great? Like, what's your goal?
I thought by now, Lauri Markkanen would be at least an All-Star, at least once.
Okay.
I thought after the draft he had the potential
still
to be
does.
one.
I mean, granted, he's got Zach LaVine on the realm of that team.
I'm more excited for Kobe White.
Yep.
He's been playing crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, I've been more watching the Suns games.
no.
And keep
This
up
is
the
true.
Suns.
Well,
'cause-
D-Book was your MVP.
Yes,
Well, still is, I'm just saying.
and D-Book is
He's a bad man.
he is a cold man.
But, yeah, I mean, speaking of MVP talks, I don't know if any one of our groups said Trae Young was in that conversation, but he had 15
I
points,
think
13
Nick did,
assists.
actually.
4 for 14 from the field, 1 for 6 on threes. I was talking to Andrew about this, and I think that he's this team's crutch, and he's also this team's detriment. And that's because the style of play we have now, where we see every day that they shoot threes at will when it goes in, you're happy about it. But when it doesn't, you're like, stop shooting. But you can't not win a game with Trae Young's talent by taking it to the hole every time.
Mhm.
And especially with John Collins still out with suspension, you have to shoot over everyone. And 1 for 6 with 15 points in a 136-102 loss to a Bulls team that, granted, might not make the playoffs. They might push an 8th seed, but that's all I'm saying. And the Hawks, they looked really well last year, especially ending the year with Trae Young's second half. But you got to be more consistent, man. Like, I get it. You're compared to Curry, and Curry wasn't that great until, like, the first time he was in a three-point contest. And then after that, the rest is history. Obviously, we know the rest of that story. And Trae Young's defense is a big problem. Like, I don't
feel
know
like-
what Lord Pierce is doing down there, but you guys care to comment on that?
I just feel like he's kind of their Achilles tendon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. He could easily put your team into a backpack and just carry them. But once he starts doing bad, on top of the awful defense that he performs, on top of what was he shooting again?
4 for 14.
4 for 14. That you need to talk to him like, hey, you need to pass the ball more. You need to slow your shots. You need to take these good open shots. And if they're just not falling and it's not his
Yeah, but
night,
you can even like look at highlights. I don't think most of them are open shots. Like, they use screens.
They're
and
contested.
I mean, you can make the shot. Don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
if you're 1 for 6, I want you to shoot more. Because if you're 1 for 10, that's just how you play.
they need to start
But
running
if they're-
plays
if
then.
you're-
They need to do something to get him open to where, like, if it's slightly contested, that's still going to alter
Yeah,
your
but
shot.
that's
think they
the
were just-
difference in between Curry and Young. Sorry for interrupting you, but you can't run plays for Curry like you can with Trae, because Trae's not that.
Oh, yeah,
player
I'm not
yet.
saying that. I'm saying, like, they need to develop their own style of play
Yeah, their own
around
system.
Trae Young.
Yeah.
Because that's their main guy right now.
I think John Collins out is really hurting, and
They can turn it
like
around
the
when he
first
comes
week
back.
without him was fine because it was the second week of the year.
Yeah, but it's so
Now we're starting to see how important he is or how valuable he is to this team.
Mm-hmm.
And
They still got time though. I
They-
mean, like
of
what you
course.
said with the East, like the top 6, kind of locked in.
Yeah,
but
but
that 7th, 8th
are
seed
you
that could go
banking
to,
on, especially being in that Southwest Division where the Wizards aren't the good, the Hornets might make the playoffs, the Heat are definitely in, the
for
Magic
sure.
are of course fighting for an 8th spot. Are you're really banking on
An 8th seed.
an 8th seed at this point, because you can even say 7th, but Orlando, Detroit are fighting for that one. and I don't know who else in the East should be fighting for that. Because you got the whole Atlantic Division pretty much making the playoffs other than the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
The East is weird though. There's been years where some teams they don't even have winning records and they make the playoffs.
Well, that's not of course, but that's the same year that you have a 65 win team as first
that's
seed.
true.
So you gotta have a team with 42 losses and 40 wins. Because those are most likely going to be in the same division. But I don't think the Hawks are going to make the playoffs this year because John Collins is missing an insignificantly amount of games to where we are starting to show that that team is hurting.
Oh yeah, he's valuable to them for sure.
The Memphis beat the Suns 115-108. All I gotta say is John Morant might have dunk of the year on Aaron Baines. Anyone want to comment on it?
That was pretty nasty fucking.
Like it wasn't like he grabbed the rim. He just got up and just doop. And it was just over Aaron Baines. Like, I think John Morant is a real deal.
That kind of reminded me of the D Rose dunk.
Goran Dragic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way he like flushed it down.
The way he elevated, like, all of a sudden. I think this year's dunk contest, you put Ja, you put Aaron Gordon back, maybe Zach LaVine, and then Donovan Mitchell. That would be a fun dunk contest. Of course, John Morant could always say no. Because he has injured himself in the past, and maybe he doesn't want to get hurt. But I think it's the dunk of the year so far. You guys would like to agree?
Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been too many explosive dunks.
Yeah. Well, not yet anyway. Well, do you see fucking
LeBron
and Giannis? But that's just what they do on fucking regular.
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
expected, but when you see somebody just ease at will,
there's a rookie just coming up and just throwing it down.
Yeah.
Good thing to see.
I want to know how many times it's going to happen to Aaron Baines.
He's
There's entire videos dedicated to his posterizations on YouTube.
I mean,
every year it
granted,
happens.
when you're a center, you can't do much because you're
everything's
always in
a
the
foul
paint.
too,
and that too, and you know that's a whole other debate we can talk about. But speaking of Giannis, he didn't play, but the Bucks still took care of work, beating the Pelicans 127-112. JJ Redick did have a good game, but my thing is, what separates the Bucks to a team like the Heat and the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Pacers?
I think they have better team chemistry.
I think they're more explosive.
Yeah.
I was just simply gonna say Giannis.
Well,
he's the most explosive player in the league.
He is a cheat code. I'm saying, like, if anybody were to have him, they would be a good team.
He's that one guy.
I don't believe that.
What? That if he went anywhere?
Yeah.
I think he would struggle in a Warrior system.
Well,
currently, yes.
A heavy shooting team, he would not be effective on.
The Bucks are one of the better shooting 3-point teams in the league, and they do shoot a lot of threes. But I just think that if you put them on
think of how long
Houston,
they took him to build that team for that.
Yeah, I know.
The way they didn't pick up the best shooters in the league. They picked up
They
players
picked up,
that dude would fit chemistry wise with Giannis.
They picked up Chris Middleton, and then he became All-Star, and they locked him up this past
And that
season.
goes to show that they don't need Giannis to win games now because they have another.
Well, it is against the Pelicans.
And they don't have. They're not the best team, but they do compete in most of games.
They're not playing that bad despite their record.
Yeah,
Brendan Ingram, he's having an all-star year. He's averaging
most
20-something
improved
points
player
a game.
in my book.
For sure.
I don't know if anyone
I do
else
agree
wants
with
to
that.
disagree with
I would
that,
agree
but-
with that 100%.
No, this Pelicans team isn't a rough right now. Don't get me wrong.
They
But
compete.
yeah,
Well,
they compete, and there's just
I
young.
also think that they had all this hype with Zion coming in that for people wise, not teams in the league.
Yeah.
But they thought that all of a sudden this Pelican team is going to be
Like I saw it, yeah, and you know,
I didn't see that coming
of
at
course,
all.
that's just the humans reacting to an action, and of course, like we've all been there. When Kyrie gets signed to the Celtics or traded to the Celtics, you're like, yeah, we got Kyrie's an All-Star, and then
gotta
afterwards
let
you're
it
like,
happen.
what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What the hell even is that? Like,
What the hell is
like
even
Jason
that?
Tatum, for example, he's only 8 or 19, and you know, like that reaction, you know. And then, you know, you could say, no, God, no, it's more like that's out of the room. But,
For sure.
but, you know, you see that and we're reacting to it the way it is. And, it is what it is.
Pelicans, they're not getting embarrassed though. Like their
they
games are
compete.
actually pretty good.
They almost
Like
beat
their
the
record
Rockets
sucks,
twice.
but like
I was trying to say, like, this team is young. You give them 2-3 years, everybody's healthy, everyone's consistently going up.
But-
This team is going to be a big contender. This is going to be like a low seed team, but they're still going to be able to make the playoffs.
With that waiting 2-3 years, their contracts are going to be up. Brandon Ingram's going to ask for a lot of money. You can get away with giving Lonzo a little shimmy contract, but Ingram's gonna ask for $100 million.
If Ingram asks for something suitable, and the way he's been playing, if he could find a way to like show them like, hey, this is me consistently now.
Mhm.
This is something I'm gonna be able to do every single game and help you guys this much. I wouldn't be afraid to give him the money. I'm more of afraid of like Lonzo asking for too much. I'm afraid of just. JJ, I think, is worth the money. He could shoot. He could get it.
But he's like 34.
You just gotta back it up.
Yeah, you got.
As long as you're backing it up, it's fine.
This the way Ingram's playing. This is what the Lakers needed him to do.
Well, Grant, this is what we've talked about that
Different
before.
And
systems.
this is where I knew he was capable of this. I think the Lakers could have waited on longer.
But like we've talked about this before, when you have a chance of getting an Anthony Davis type player, you trade everything away.
Oh yeah.
Granted,
Doesn't
we all
matter.
thought Kuzma was better than the core that they traded. We knew Kuzma was better than Hart, Ingram, and Ball.
Okay,
but here's the thing:
now you would keep
LeBron
Ingram
also
and get rid of
played
Kuzma.
the same. Yeah, but Ingram also plays the same position as LeBron. Granted, he could play power forward, but the man weighs 170 pounds. That's not his actual weight. I'm just obviously he's really
But
skinny.
then again, you have LeBron who can play any position.
Yeah, but when he gets hurt and Ingram still hasn't stepped up until 3 games left
You
in the
don't
season.
know until it happens.
Yes, and I think that this Pelicans team competes,
think
and they're
they
good for
do.
now. But if they wait too long, everyone's gonna be gone
Mhm.
because everyone's gonna be like, "Well, this team's giving me 100 million deuces," and Lonzo's gonna be like, "Well, I want 70 mil for 3 years," and it's like, okay, well, you haven't really played 50 games, but that's another discussion. Speaking of a young team that's playing really well, the Kings beat the Thunder 94-93. Speaking of the Kings, they play extremely well against the Celtics. Do you think that the Kings are playoff material?
I think they're very inconsistent.
Because they still don't have De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, they don't. But I don't know. They just they go through patches.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll do good for 10 games, and then their next 10 they'll go 2 for 8, and it's just are you gonna be a winning team or are you gonna be a losing team? They just they just keep going back and forth. They don't know what they are yet.
They're almost at 500. I believe they're a game under.
Mhm.
So it's not like they're not there. They're right there. And last
still
year they
kinda
were
early,
right
though.
there before trading for Harrison Barnes. And I didn't think they should have signed him back, but they did. They regret it.
They did that
That's
man
fine.
dirty. You trade him mid-game.
Yeah. Well, the Mavericks,
They did
that
do
was
that.
terrible. I don't agree with that, but
That was awful.
but granted, they paid Buddy Hield, and I think he's playing he.
Definitely should've
He's
locked-
worth the money.
Definitely should have locked him up.
Yeah,
Buddy Hield's worth the
I'm
money.
surprised that the Pelicans even traded him for the DeMarcus Cousins trade because they knew for a fact DeMarcus probably wasn't going to sign back. But I don't know.
He's
Like
gotten
we
hurt,
said, he's an
3
all-star.
times
You,
since then?
you take a chance on that, and now he's on a Kings team that might make the playoffs.
Mhm.
They got a
Again,
good young
De'Aaron
team.
Fox is not. They're all young, but the negative side of it, they're all going to ask contracts at the exact same time. And if
That's
you're
kind of like
Vlade
the
Divac,
Pelicans.
with his history of
You
being
gotta
a
decide,
terrible GM.
He might be lucky if they get one back.
Yeah, Buddy Hield's there. Darren Fox he's good for another year. Bogdanovic, who hit the game-winning shot, or no, he didn't hit the game-winning shot, but he hit a clutch shot against the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 88, I don't want to butcher his name, Alicia, who hit the game-winning shot against the Rockets. He's also pretty young still, and
He's not bad either.
of course, big men aren't that great. You can always get one in free agency, but Sacramento, especially in LA, they're not the destiny spot free agency you want to go in.
Yeah.
I do think that they're a year away. I do think their coach is doing okay with his circumstances. I just think that they're in the same boat with the Pelicans that everyone's going to be asking for contracts at the same time, and they don't have enough cap space for it. So they literally have a 2 to 3 year window right now to where we can push for an 8-7 seed to prove that hey, if you stay here, take less money, we can make it happen. Especially you don't know what's going to happen.
But I feel like
with
nowadays, the younger kids, yeah, I'm in it for the money. I don't really care about winning. It sucks. I feel like everybody should have this will to win, and if it shows hey, if we keep practicing with each other, we keep doing what we're doing, we made it to the Eve. All right, the 8th seed. Why not the 7th? Maybe we could go 6th. Maybe we could do a little bit
that's
better.
why mid-market teams struggle because you have all these draft picks for so long. What's a perfect example? T-Wolves, I would say. T-Wolves, maybe. No one wants to go to Minnesota.
It's not a big market town.
If I'm a top agent and Minnesota goes, yeah, we'll give you less money because it's in our young guys.
Same
and
thing with the Bucks for the past
Yeah, the Bucks were the worst team.
That's the
in,
best example of-
2010, 2012, and they had all these draft picks, right? And now they locked in their
They've been
superstar.
developed.
Personally, I think that Giannis can be the first $300 million basketball contract.
I believe it.
There's little clauses I have in there, and so now they have Chris Middleton. As soon as they see an All-Star with Giannis, they lock him up. And I think that's what the Kings are waiting for, is that they see De'Aaron Fox's potential, and they see Buddy Hield can be a Chris Middleton-type player, just not that tall and not that great defensively, to where they want to lock him up at ASAP. So now they're just waiting on who's next. And that's why I said 2-3 years, because when a contract expires, a young guy either is going to do it right away or wait till the end of the season and walk. And that's where you got a gray area where you don't trade someone, and then you get no return for him. And you also an AFC in the playoffs, so you don't get a good draft pick. So they are
All
in
around
the
bad, yeah.
middle of the hunt, which is tough, but it is fun to see because we always loved that young core. Like, we want the Suns to make it so bad because Devin Booker, he's
It's
so
just
young and
fun
so
to
good.
watch.
And I don't know.
Bro,
But speaking of
You
young
hate-
teams,
You hate to see him play your fucking team. That's all I gotta say. He butchered us.
Yeah, he killed the Sixers. But speaking of young teams, one of these teams are fairly young, the other not so much. The Knicks barely beat the Warriors in overtime, 124-112. Or
Knicks fan, take it away.
124-122. This was a tank game. Neither team wanted to win. The Knicks were up by like 10 or 15, and they were like, oh, wait, we want a better draft pick, skirt. And then the Warriors were like, wait, we want James Wiseman. Stop winning. No, but I think that the Warriors are in a good spot, and the Knicks aren't.
They're going to be stacked next year. They're going to get... They
Wiseman
got
in the
D'Angelo. They got...
Curry.
Curry's going to be back. Thompson's
Clay.
going to be back. They're still going to have Draymond Green. And then they're going to have like a top 5 pick in the draft.
I think
They're going to be
think-
back right in the running for
Yeah.
another championship next
And-
season.
And that's the difference in between them and the Knicks, because they have Eric Parcell, who's been doing great. He's leading the rookie race right now for some reason. Granted, he's an undrafted rookie, so we never saw this coming.
Yeah.
And they can always let go of Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson the third, all those. Like Jordan Poole can be sent down to the G League. Eric Parcell can also be sent down in the G League if they want. And the Knicks, we have Frank Ntilikina. Desmond Jr.'s all right. Julius Randle's locked up
You
for
got
another
RJ.
year.
Not doing too bad.
He had like a
Bobby
couple
Portis.
games where he had plus 30 minutes and he didn't score 10 points. That worries me, the inconsistency. But he does have a great mid-range jumper. The three-pointer
does.
could work. The playmaking could work. The defense is almost there. He's got the size for it. I don't know what else to say about this team other than why we signed 4 power forwards in the free agency. I'm not Scott Perry. I don't know. Firing our coach, I also didn't agree with. But again, I'm not Scott Perry or James Dolan. I don't know. I think the Warriors and the Knicks are the exact, like, they're both tanking teams. Like, we could see that. But one's in a way better spot than the other.
For
So,
sure.
Well, no, but yes.
Yeah, you don't want to lose.
Yeah,
but
You want the draft
if
pick.
you go in that
Yeah.
locker room, you're like, we have like 3 All-Stars waiting to come back. It's okay.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Draymond and D'Lo could take time off. Like, they're hurt. You know, if
And
they're
you
like
got
sore
Clay
walking in
and
the locker
Curry
room,
that
they
are
could
gonna be
just
back
dip.
next year.
Yeah, and you got any comments on the Warriors' future or the Knicks' future?
the Warriors' future is still bright as heck.
Yeah, like they're
I
still
mean-
a championship team next year.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
God, someone send help to the Knicks organization. I think it's time for the Knicks to sell.
I think James Dolan should sell, but granted, he's not going to because he owns the Garden too. So
The Knicks are playing checkers while the Warriors
They're
are playing chess.
Yep. Hey, that's exactly the way you got to put
No, the Knicks are playing hopscotch.
it. They're like, okay,
Leapfrog,
we're gonna
yeah.
get Kyrie. He throws the rock. Oh no, Julius Randle. We're gonna get KD. Throws the rock.
Yeah,
no,
they're
Tyrese
def-
Gibson.
They definitely just wrote down every name on the free agency list, put a blindfold on, just tossed it
Yeah,
out.
and then
Like, all right, we'll give you a max contract.
Yeah. Granted, the free agency class isn't good this year either, so Knicks are gonna be rough for the next
There's
2
a
years.
problem when the Kings are looking at more success than you.
I'm okay with that. Buddy Hield's one of my guys. I loved him in college. All right, so we're going to switch gears a bit from the professional level to a college basketball level. You are wearing a UConn shirt or jacket. You want to lead us in this discussion of the top teams losing to unranked opponents?
It's ridiculous. You just like
We haven't seen this in our lifetime, I don't think.
Kentucky. I don't even remember what the name of the school is, but they lost a couple, like maybe a week or 2 ago, to an unranked school and never heard of them before, and they lost. Like you just
Michigan also lost.
you just can't
Duke
give up
lost.
games like that. It's
Louisville
ridiculous.
lost. And my thing with that is you have these kids coming in,
Well,
right straight out of high school, right? And they're dominating high school ball, right? They're absolutely disgusting, right? And then when they get to the college level, like Penny Hardaway, for example, he said to his guys, we're doing NBA practices now. We're getting ready for the NBA no matter what. Memphis is a really good team, despite not having Wiseman, one of the best players, I think, in this draft class coming up, despite LaMelo, Cole Anthony, yada, all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they're taking it as serious as they think because, again, as a five-star recruit, especially from like a big state like New York, California, Texas, Florida, those big states for basketball. If I'm a 5-star recruit and I go to a school like Kentucky, we're number 1 in the preseason, we got this, and then, they don't try as hard. I just think that they play down on their level, and the fact is that I think college basketball is very competitive.
It is.
That's what I was about to say. I said there's either two things that I think could be going on right now.
Yeah.
Two.
All right, you want me to explain how my pinky's broken, just doesn't bend like that? All right.
Just keep going.
Either the ranking system is completely shot,
Yeah.
or the competition this year is looking very great.
I think if this goes, March Madness is going to be fantastic.
Then that's what I was getting at. Either
Yeah.
we're going to have a great March Madness, or it's going to be like, what
One
the hell
seeds
is
are
even
just
going
running
on?
the table. Yeah. I don't know if you're a top 5. If you're a top 10 team right now, and you see the AP poll and you're top 5, are you sweating when you see an unranked opponent in your schedule, or you're just like, nah, we're gonna break this bad
Definitely,
record? Or
as of right now, I'd be sweating.
like if you're UConn and you see your name at
You gotta
4
be
for some reason.
It shouldn't matter. Like, you should just be playing. You should be playing your heart out no matter who you play.
But
And it
also,
shouldn't
like,
matter.
it could get into your head as a coach. Like, if you see all these teams, like Illinois, the most relevant thing they've done in our lifetime is get Jordan's kid. The younger one. Like, granted, I don't think half of you guys knew that in this room.
Wait.
His one kid went to UCF and the other kid went to Illinois. No, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But and I think that if I'm a coach and seeing my team in top 5, and I'm like, oh, God, what the hell? Why are we top 5? It could get into your head a little bit, no?
Well, yeah, it's
could.
definitely psychological. But if you go in there thinking that, we're going to spank these kids, we're going to show them what's up, obviously, you're a little cocky. You're going to let the best get of you. It's just, you got to go in there, expect these kids to play like they're the number 1 ranked team for that week. You got to go in there and actually try your heart out. Every game matters.
Okay. I do think that it's important to pay attention to detail, especially if you're a top 5 team, because you are a top 5 team in the whole country, and that's over 150 schools. But again, it's just, I think, how unprepared some of these kids are going into practice. And granted, you are trying to get ready for professional level while keeping a student athlete stature alive. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to make pros, you need to be unranked teams, because some of those kids you might see in a summer camp, like a summer team camp, trying to grind for a roster spot, and they might play overseas, and you should be able to beat those kids.
Like, what's his name who plays in Australia right now?
LaMelo?
No, I don't know why I can't think of what his name is, but he, instead of playing in college, he went and plays for Australia.
RJ Hampton?
Yep. He's going to be a good pick in the draft. He plays in Australia because he didn't want to go to college.
Well, that's because he wanted to get paid.
Exactly.
That's a whole other argument. But all right. Well, we talked about college basketball a bit. Granted, we aren't the most intelligent of it, but we do like to dabble in it a little bit, get us smarter, get everyone else smarter in the room. Now we will talk about, this is our big topic here, what is every NBA's team biggest weakness? Now I have it on the laptop / my phone of the list of teams. So we will just go down the order from standings to standings, starting with the Eastern Conference. We will each either agree or try to argue about disagreeing. Granted, we can pair up with teams. Like if we talk about the Celtics, you guys can just go off and we won't say a word. For the Sixers, you can go off. Hopefully we won't say a word. The Knicks, I don't think I have to say the Knicks' weakness, quite frankly, because I've said it. But we will get going order. All right, first seed at 22-3. Milwaukee Bucks. What is their weakness, if they have any?
I can't even think of anything.
I just think
they're just playing nuts. It's like they're all around. They're just good.
I just think of that, like the shooting a lot of threes could catch up, and they could just miss a bunch one game. But that's an if, not a weakness.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like you can bet on like leaving the non-efficient guys from 3 a little open to help protect the paint on like a Giannis drive or like a pick and roll, but it's just they seem to not have a weakness right now, which is
even if you lock down Giannis all game, it's like you still got guys that can step up. Like you got Lopez, you got Middleton. It's like
You got the other Lopez.
yeah,
Of course, you got young guys like DJ Wilson, Sterling Brown, Eric Bledsoe. He's not young, but he's a really good piece. Okay, so here we go. And the Heat, 18-6. Any weaknesses other than inconsistent away games? Because they're really good at home.
I think that's one of them, but like I said before, there's not really, a superstar on that team.
Jimmy Butler.
But I'm saying obviously, but like you're seeing, those players on that team, they're not all fucking passing it to Jimmy, give it to Jimmy, Jimmy buckets, Jimmy buckets, Jimmy buckets.
But when you think of Heat, you think of
yeah. But like what I'm saying is that I don't. The weakness that they do have is what you just said about the away games, but
at home they're a great
than
team,
that-
like the Sixers. Great
I
team
think
at
if
home.
they get one more guy, they're gonna be pretty.
I don't think
elite.
they have to.
They don't
Because
have to.
Bam
But if they,
Adebayo can lock down anyone in the paint, right? Tyler Hero is really good. Duncan Robinson, a two-way player, is dropping 30 a night. And you
got
don't
Jimmy
really need
Butler.
to, and then
It's like-
Goran Dragic. Sorry for spitting everywhere, but you got Goran Dragic, and then of course James. Like you got your decent big man coming off the bench. I think it's dedicated to Eric Spoelstra being a great coach.
oh, for sure.
Celtics, go ahead.
Weakness:
17-6.
rebounds.
Yep.
They-
They need somebody to get rebounds. Anis Kanter. He just does not play defense. It is terrible.
He is a power
It is
forward.
sad to watch.
Taco Fall would be a great solution, even if we play him like
But what do I know?
15 minutes. I mean, the guy is 7'7" with a 10-foot wingspan. Well, what do I know?
All right,
But
They can bring him up though. Like
they can.
last year and the year before, they had Garshawn Yabusele and they had Semi Ojeleye. And they were two, and Bird. They were two-way players. So it's like they play in the G League, but then in the NBA, they can still play. But they get, I think, like their max is like 15 minutes. Like they can only play. They could do that with Taco Fall. They should have.
They're
him in
doing
the
that with
games.
Tremont Waters.
Yeah,
should
they
have
should have
him in
Taco
crunch
Fall
time.
playing too.
Well,
And
wasn't,
they haven't even gave Romeo Langford. He was their first round draft pick. He hasn't even played yet. I don't think.
Well, he's a thumb injury.
He was healthy though, too, a couple weeks. And
Yeah,
then
but
he's
if
just
it's a
hasn't
young
played
guy on a championship team and he's got like a thumb injury, you don't want to mess with that.
yet. Yeah, it's true.
All right, Sixers, 18-7. One thing, gotta be one thing:
inconsistent
inconsistency, shooting, right, or just inconsistency.
shooting, and the same thing about the Heat. They have a little bit of a tougher time playing
away.
away games, but we definitely need a shooter or smarter plays for the shooters to get open.
Simmons need to be a little more confident in the shot to get rid of that weakness. Once you get one more person that could shoot, especially like Simmons, where
They don't have the
somebody
cap
could
space.
slack off and just be like, I'm going to protect the paint, you can't shoot, to where
I mean, they had Butler last year, but
they got rid of him for some
They
reason.
did.
Tobias Harris, I think, is better for the Embiid Simmons situation, but I think
he's kind of an all-around player. He can shoot. He can drive in the paint.
I
he
think
can
one of my
play
favorite
defense.
players for the Sixers is Tobias Harris.
He's just an all-around good player.
Yeah.
Quiet
That was
guy.
a really good
Humble
pickup
guy.
for them last
Yes,
season.
exactly.
All right, Raptors 16-8.
Talking about Boston and Philly, the game right now, Philly losing 30-38.
All
in
right,
the second
so Raptors 16-8. Other than not having a bona fide All-Star quite yet, well, Siakam might be, but he's not an All-Star yet. The one thing that worries me with this team is, quite frankly, they're just not that great, like not good enough.
Yeah, I can see that. They're not like those big name guys. Fred VanVleet, you didn't really know about this guy until the finals.
Yeah.
But
But they do
Lowry's
have
kind
a-
of a sleeper.
They do have a great G League team. Don't get me
They
wrong.
do.
They have a bunch of two-way players that can make any NBA roster, right?
Didn't Siakam come up from the G League?
Yep. So did Fred VanVleet. Chris Boucher is a defensive player and MVP of the G League, and he's called up once or twice. He's a two-way player. He's been playing a lot of minutes both leagues. Marcus Saul, Serge Ibaka, they're getting older, so maybe
They're in
some
their
young
30s.
pieces and backup center. Got Capurro.
Kyle Lowry's
right?
getting up there too. He's
Yeah,
30,
he's in his 30s,
33,
but
something like
Yeah,
that.
I just don't think this team is that great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're
But-
better than expected,
Yes,
though,
of
considering they lost Kawhi. I think they're
easily.
top 4 in the East right now.
They're fifth right now.
Fifth.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good, considering.
All right, Pacers 16-9. They're just missing their all-star. That's my weakness.
Victor Oladipo comes back.
And
they're
they
gonna
had
go
a slow
nuts.
start with Sabonis and Turner, trying to figure out like how we're gonna divide them up with contract-wise. But other than that,
They just need
the
a
one
Oladipo
weakness
back.
is Depot.
That's it. He comes back, they're gonna go nuts.
All right, Nets 13-11 when Kyrie
Kyrie's
plays. That's their
is
weakness.
their biggest weakness.
And
right
of
now.
course, Kevin Durant being hurt.
Yeah,
We
he's
got-
not gonna play this year.
You
probably
can't really
not.
count
I think
that.
I think we just put injuries in general.
Yeah,
but
just-
Kyrie
that's
we
it.
could just put when he plays.
Kyrie's personality.
All right, the Magic 11-13
Injuries.
injuries.
Mm.
Aaron Gordon and Nikola Vucevic when they're hurt, that hurts. But other than that, Jonathan Isaac's been playing a great game, great season. He's leading the league in blocks. Mo Bamba's having a decent year.
I've actually seen Markel Fultz play. Not
Yeah,
that.
Markelle
Some of these
Fultz is
games, he's
being-
actually playing pretty good.
Yeah,
Maybe not, first overall pick, but
but it is what it
he's
is.
whatever.
When Lonzo was a second pick, it's not looking that pick doesn't look too bad. All right, the Pistons at 10-14. I don't think Blake and Drummond play well together. They also have a terrible guard situation in Reggie Jackson. Luke Kennard's okay. Luke Kennard's actually really good. Dwayne Casey he's an okay coach. You know, the
So do you
Raptors
think, like-
got rid of him.
I like Derrick
and they
Rose
won.
there though.
Derrick Rose is playing extremely well. That's one of their
Probably
highlights
averaging
of the
like
season.
16,
Just
17 a game.
Their
something
weakness is kind of like rotations. Like
Yeah, no, I
if
think
Drummond's
they're-
in, Blake
they're-
Griffin should not be in.
Does
That's
Reggie
just
start?
coaching.
Reggie starts over Derrick
Coaching.
Rose, right?
Yeah.
I think they should have Rose starting
Well,
I
the-
know.
at this point. It's,
I
I
just
will. There's some players that you know.
you need some guys
Yeah.
off the bench.
Yeah.
Like
They do,
Andre
but-
Iguodala.
The Clippers. Pat Bev.
No, he starts.
He starts now.
Lou Will is
Lou
the
Will.
Lou Will, yeah,
Sorry.
amazing
Um,
off
sorry.
the bench.
I think that their one weakness is just guard play, other than Derrick Rose. All right, Hornets 11-16. They're just. I think we
They're
could say that
guard
with
spies.
the Hornets, Wizards, Hawks, Cavs, and Knicks, and then the one team I left out was the Bulls. I just think the Bulls are underperforming, but the Hornets, Wizards, Hawks, Cavs, and Knicks, they're just not good.
They're not going to
They
make.
have
playoffs.
highlights on their team like Julius Randle, Bradley Beal,
Trey.
Trey Young, Kevin Love is going to be traded.
Graham.
Hornets have Devontae Graham. They're just not that good outside of those players.
And they shouldn't have paid Terry Rozier, however much they paid him.
Granted,
It's
they
just
did say
ridiculous.
they were going to trade up and draft him like a lottery pick back in his draft. But I think we should
Long
let that
ago.
sit in. All right, now we can go through the West. The Lakers 22-3. I just think that their one problem is when they play against competition, it shows their weaknesses.
It does.
They do need Andre Iguodala, in my opinion. KCP's too inconsistent. But other than that, this team is great.
Yeah,
I think
easily.
Andre Iguodala would be a really good pickup.
But the Grizzlies, they want to trade for him because they're not buying him out for $22 million.
No.
Oh, you got 3 good centers.
How old is
for
he?
them,
He's like
too.
what, 35, 36?
Yeah.
He's getting up there.
You got 2 not too bad centers, and then you got 1 really good center.
Mm-hmm.
So you got JaVale McGee, especially when DeMarcus Cousins comes
I
back.
don't think he's coming back this year, but
You
we
know,
always like to joke about it.
There's a possibility,
Mhm.
but next year,
Came
if
back
they
for the
decide to
Warriors
keep
last
him,
year.
it's still DeMarcus Cousins. It's still that bully in the paint.
He's just an injury risk at this point. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
he came back for the
lost
Warriors,
millions
got
of
hurt.
dollars.
He got hurt again. It's just like
I think that we can group the Clippers, Mavericks, and Rockets all in the same category is that they all need like one more piece. Other than like the Rockets, maybe with Harden, Westbrook, and
they
Capella.
just got to figure.
I would
it
say
out.
with the Rockets, it's turnovers.
They just got to
Yeah.
figure it out how to
They got
like
a
play
lot.
together.
So I think the Clippers, they're really good, but I just think that load management's their one problem, and the Mavericks need one more piece. I think.
I think they need like a fast-paced guy.
I think
To where
need
they could just
I think
dish out
Jalen
fast
Brunson's a
breaks.
great point guard. Don't get me wrong, but I think Chris Paul would fit very well with this team.
But how
With
much
the
money is he going to be
Mavericks?
asking for?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he even plays. Like I thought for a fact the second he went to OKC, in my head I was like, "There's not a chance he starts a single game." In an
Oh no, they're
OKC
actually doing
uniform.
really well. They're
I was
11
like, I'm
13.
kind of
but
surprised.
I think the
was like,
Clippers is load management with injuries. Mavericks, I think they're one piece away from actually being real. The Rockets, turnovers. The Nuggets, Jokic isn't playing that great. He averages 8 points in the last 5 games. But other than that, it's okay because Mike Malone's a good coach. The Jazz,
They're kinda,
slow start.
They're a
But they
pretty good
are a
all-around
second
team,
half
though.
team. Ever since they drafted Donovan Mitchell, they've been better in the second half of the season. But in the West, you can't do that
Mhm.
this year. But granted, they're still going to make the playoffs, right? Anyone else want to rebuttal that or no?
No, I think you're.
I think the
I
Jazz are
think you're
pretty
just
good.
kicking it in the head.
Kings 11-13. One weakness I have, they don't have an all-star.
I think they're
Yeah.
inconsistent as well.
They did have a slow start, which will bite them in the end when they're trying to fight for a tiebreaker.
They showed that they could compete,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, one big name could really change
Buddy
a lot.
Hield could be an all-star, but not in the West.
Oh.
De'Aaron Fox could be an all-star, but he's hurt. Other than that, that's their only weakness I see.
I think they're going to turn it up a little bit when De'Aaron Fox isn't hurt, though.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the Suns 11-13.
Inconsistent.
Ayton is rarely Ayton's injured. Like same, we can say the same thing with the Hawks situation. First week of without Ayton/Collins, they were fine. Now we're starting to see the withdrawals of not having DeAndre Ayton.
I think
on the
they're
floor.
still doing like better than expected. They've been pretty bad the past couple years.
They're tied for the 7th seed.
That's not bad.
Again, I just think that this team's really missing Ayton and it's starting to show because the Kings are now caught up to them and the Thunder are right behind them with the Timberwolves behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of Thunder, 11-13, they're just not that good.
No.
Shea Gilgeous, really good player. Chris Paul's gone. Steve Adams might be gone by the break. Danilo Gallinari's definitely gone.
I feel bad for Steven Adams.
I
really
do.
like him.
Granted,
I think he's a
player.
really good player.
The Celtics, I wouldn't be surprised, and they've been in trade rumors with Kevin Love as well. Granted, I don't think they need a Enes Kanter that can shoot threes. That's fine.
I do not want Kevin Love.
He does grab rebounds though.
I want Steven Adams.
We need a.
That's
we
what I
doing
want.
But
Celtics
the problem
fan-
with trading with the Thunder is they're gonna want young picks like
They
Taco
are.
Fall,
Yeah, you don't.
Grant Williams, Robert Williams.
I'd give him
Romeo
Grant. I'd give him
Langford.
Grant Williams.
I don't know. I figure
I'd give him Grant Williams and a couple picks for Steven Adams. He's still pretty young.
guys don't have any of
He's
those
a
Nets picks.
he's a legit center.
Mhm.
You guys don't have no more Nets picks. So it's just your own picks from now on. But and the Cavs pick. But all right, so Timberwolves 10-14. I think they're a year too late. I think
They're a couple years too late.
they were 3 seed with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler got hurt. They went all the way down to 8 seed, and that team that
ridiculous.
dropped is the exact team that we're seeing now.
So that just shows that they need a lot.
I feel
to
like how
actually be
Andrew
good.
Wiggins is playing though. I feel like he does this like every year.
Mhm.
There'll be like a 10 or 15 game span where he's just going off, averaging like 25 or whatever he's doing, and then it's just like that's it. Like he does it. This happens to him every year. It's like he averages like 20 something points, and everyone's like, "This is who we drafted or traded for," blah blah blah, and then it's just goes back down to like how Andrew Wiggins usually plays, and it happens every year.
My trail. I like the Trailblazers a lot. I like what Dave brings to this team.
I just feel like they
They're
can't
10
get
and
anything
15.
going.
I just think that when a team
Dame's injury hurt them.
it did, but granted, he's back. Melo's playing really well, and Hassan's playing really well. I just think that they need something drastically to change for the better or for the worse. I think C.J. McCollum needs to go because the double offensive edged blade isn't working anymore because teams like to play defense now. Granted, we haven't seen it in a while, but when you get the Clippers with two-way players, Davis is a defensive player of the year candidate almost seemingly every year. The Thunder, they have length. The Kings, they're fast. And the Trailblazers right now, I feel like their identity is kind of lost. And granted,
Their
they
stat
have,
lines are so weird though.
it is like Damian Lillard might drop 30 one night and 17 the next.
Yeah.
And it's like you need to
It's
find
like-
consistency, like you said. They're a little inconsistent.
Mm.
But I do think that they need to find another identity. So that's why I think C.J. McCollum.
What would you give up for him? Like to get?
Oh,
like,
I'm targeting Kevin Love during the trade deadline.
okay.
CJ McCollum, he's a good player. He might not work there, but there are definitely teams that would.
The
take
Cavs
him
might
in a
not take
heartbeat.
him, but you can definitely trade a Gary Trent Jr., Zach Collins maybe. Hassan can even go. I wouldn't care for that. If he left town,
That would be huge.
that'd be a huge upside and maybe what they need. Because Tarek Stocks, I don't think is a terrible coach. I think he's a good coach, but with the situation that he has now, is making it seem like he might get fired by the end of the year.
Yeah,
because
for
they
sure.
made the playoffs every year, and especially
They're
in the
not even
Western Conference
500.
last year, they're 10-15. Granted, it's only a little bit past 1 month now.
Mm-hmm.
But we can start taking mold of looking at the West, looking at the East, and being like, okay,
How it's looking
these
like
top
it's gonna
6
shape
teams
up.
in each conference are 100%. Like they're gonna make it unless like Luka gets hurt or the Kawhi's gone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the Trailblazers need to trade something. Anyone else? What would you target for C.J. McCollum or who you targeting in the trade deadline for the Blazers?
I like Kevin Love. I don't think that would be that bad.
Honestly, like I haven't watched much of the Blazers game, so I don't really want to say anything and just sound like stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'll agree with you. I'm pretty sure you watch more Blazers games than I have. I just McCollum could shoot, so I just be like, yes, you want to get a shooter, but you also have Hassan Whiteside. That's also a big. I don't really know much of their bench. If their bench is like that have anybody.
Miles Leonard's not on that team anymore. He was their stretch big.
So like a McCollum.
Maybe
and
pick
then
up
a
one of those
pick.
guys in Minnesota.
They're not trading Cat though.
They-
Wiggins is not gone because that's a terrible contract. And why would I trade CJ McCollum for Jeff Teague? What am I, an idiot?
Not Jeff
I mean,
Teague, but
maybe Culver and CJ
yeah,
McCollum.
I think
Culver
whatever
and,
they just got to get rid of him
Kobe.
and get something back for it.
I think that if they go with the Timberwolves route, they're trading for a Kobe, Diop, and maybe Culver for CJ McCollum and a pick. And the Timberwolves are like, okay, we're gonna win now. You know what I mean? Because CJ could play point guard. He's very undersized.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
He's a one or two.
I mean, I feel like we talk about the Blazers way too much. San Antonio 9-14, blow it up, blow it up, blow it up. DeMar and LaMarcus out of there. Get young pieces in. You have DeMontrezl Murray. You have Derek White, Brian Forbes.
I'd rather.
Rudy Gay's gone. He's doing really well this year. You trade everything you got and get young picks and Greg Pop
Rebuild
it for
They've
like
been
2
good
years.
They've been
and
good
then
for 20
he
years.
retires
Right?
and then he dips and then you got another team in.
Mhm.
Another coach in. You know, Tim Duncan's head coach the next 2 years. Greg Pop pretty much trained all the young teams and now you're back in the playoffs. Anything wrong with that?
Just Marcus is already like set in stone. I feel like that he should stay there.
I
They
think
already
Portland
built
should
around
trade
him
for
a lot.
I think Portland should trade for him. That'd be a good trade.
I can see that. Yeah.
And then you give them CJ McCollum. That'd be great. You know? Like trade, hey, we'll take LaMarcus and then we'll give you CJ McCollum.
Mm.
I don't think San Antonio would take that out of their minds, but they would want a young piece like
That'd be
Gary Trent.
interesting.
But it is interesting when you talk about San Antonio because we're always like, they're going to make the playoffs because Pop's coach. And now we're seeing it and we're like, damn, we really don't know what to do with this team.
I think that they should trade
DeMar? LaMarcus?
LaMarcus and keep
DeMar is young.
He's getting up there though.
How is
How old is
Lamar's
Marcus?
contract?
It's on the unfriendlier side with his age, but granted, you know what you're going to get with him and DeMar.
The thing
Are
is,
They've
20
already
points
proven themselves. You know what you
and
get.
8 to 12 rebounds and nothing more, nothing less. Maybe LaMarcus or DeMar goes for 50 once, but like a Chris Paul situation, what they average is what you're going to get. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what
like
you're
a 16 point and 10 point assist, like a 10 assist, that's what you're going to get.
Mm.
Grizzlies, 8 and 16, they're just not that good. They have young pieces, Jaren Jackson Jr.,
They just got to develop.
Just give him
Brandon
time to
Clark, Dylan Brooks.
Give them a year or two.
John
I think
Morant.
they're gonna be all right.
I think the problem is Memphis isn't a destination for free agency.
It's not.
So they have to either draft very well or trade. And Jordan Valanciunas was a good pickup for them. Granted, that contract's a little bit unfriendly for what you want, but granted, when you're a small market team and you see a piece that works well, you lock him up.
They're lucky they had Conley and Gasol for as long as they did.
Yeah, and they were pretty good when they had him back in
When healthy.
2010 and 2012. They made the Western Conference Finals against the Thunder. Game 7, they lost, but it's in the past now. That's John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr.'s team now. Pelicans 6-19. We talked about when we were talking about their game last night. They're just not good. They're a year away, and injuries are going to kill them.
Warriors just suck.
And the
Sorry.
Warriors are 5-21.
Where are all my bandwagons at?
And
You're not there no more.
I think they're in a good spot. We all talked about the Warriors and Pelicans. They're in a good spot.
Warriors, I wouldn't say they have a weakness right now. Because this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if they didn't have injuries, they'd be doing much better.
The Warriors
But
are in a good spot though.
they are in a good
Next
spot.
season-
They don't have
Next
a weakness.
Season, they're gonna be something serious.
They're
now.
doing exactly what they
Weaknesses
want to do.
obviously are injuries.
Yeah, and you can say the same thing with Pelicans because without Zion, they don't compete as much, but they compete in every game. So.
Yeah, you can't really say it hasn't really even played.
No, I know, but I'm seeing in the locker room, knowing that you got the number 1 pick, the most hyped pick since maybe LeBron or like Dwight Howard. You're like, yeah, this guy's a locker room changer. We're all gonna win games now. And now you're like, well, now what do we do?
Well,
Yeah.
he's overweight.
Ain't now everyone's like, all right, well, this is the end of our episode. Cole, you got anything to say? Thank you for joining us. Hopefully
Thank you for
had
having me on
fun.
the podcast.
Of course, we love to talk about sports, and you're a knowledgeable guy, even though you're wearing Warriors pants. But-
Bandwagon.
Something.
Sorry, yeah.
Bandwagon.
Patriots had-
That's why you laughed before.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But you know, you got anything to say to the people who might have viewed or listened before we go?
Tune in Saturday for the football talk.
There you go. You got anything, Zach?
Thank you guys for everything. Trying to get to the 100 subscriber goal. We're
Gatorade
getting very
Gatorade
close, and this is definitely something that we want to do in the long term, years from now. So just like, subscribe, comment, leave comments on what you guys want us to talk about next. We definitely will read them all, because I'm pretty sure there's not going to be that many just yet, but hopefully in the future there will be. Thank you guys for tuning in, and much love, appreciate it.
Alright, so merch is finally out. It's gonna be on the.
It is on the channel.
It's in one of the
It's on the
links.
channel, and the link is in our Instagram.
So and follow Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, we can put the link below.
Mm-hmm.
But just I like it. I love it. Love seeing the guys talk about stuff that we love, and thanks for tuning in.
The one thing I have to say is that if we
Happy
don't hit
Thanksgiving.
100 by the end of January, I will be mortally upset because I want to take a Gatorade bath in the middle of the snow.
Ew.
Thank God we do live in New England. So February,
take a yellow
Gatorade bath in the middle of the snow. No.
Yeah.
Gatorade bath. In the middle
Yellow?
of the snow. You could use yellow. You could use lemon lime if we want. I prefer grape or green apple, but whatever we get in the store is whatever we get in the store.
Alright.
But thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you guys can listen to us Saturday.